I was carving the Thanksgiving turkey in front of 37 people when I told my wife I knew the baby wasn't mine, and that my brother, sitting 3 feet away with his hand on her belly, was the real father. If you've got some time, maybe grab a drink and settle in. Because this story, it's going to take a while. And trust me, you'll want to hear how I got from being the good guy everyone could count on to the man who destroyed his entire family in under 5 minutes on what's supposed to be the most sacred day of the year. 3 days ago, I was helping my wife pick out a crib. 8 months ago, she told me she was pregnant with our 3rd child. 2 years ago, I had a vasectomy that made it biologically impossible for me to father children. Do the math. So why did I stay silent for 8 months, rubbing her belly at family dinners, going to ultrasounds, playing the excited dad-to-be while my younger brother watched with that knowing smirk he's had since we were kids? Because I wasn't just planning a divorce, I was planning total annihilation, and I needed an audience. This is the story of how I discovered my wife Amanda was carrying my brother Kyle's child, how I spent 8 months gathering evidence while playing the perfect husband, and how I chose the one moment that would ensure nobody in my family ever forgot what they did. It's also the story of what happens after revenge, because, spoiler alert, it doesn't feel like you think it will. Let me start at the beginning. My name is Robert Mitchell. I'm 38 years old, and up until March of 2023, I thought I had a pretty good life. I taught history at Maplewood High School in suburban Ohio, one of those small towns where everybody knows everybody, where you can't go to the grocery store without running into at least 3 people you know. I'd been married to Amanda for 8 years. We had 2 kids, Emma, who was 7, and Jack, who was 5. Amanda was a stay-at-home mom, used to be a nurse before Emma was born. We had a modest 3-bedroom house with a 2-car garage, a golden retriever named Biscuit, and Sunday dinners at my parents' place every single week without fail. I was the responsible one in my family. Always had been. My younger brother Kyle was 33, charming as hell, and had never quite figured out what he wanted to do with his life. He bartended at the Mill, this local pub downtown, and he lived in our parents' basement until about 6 months before everything imploded. Kyle was the fun uncle, the guy who showed up to birthday parties with the biggest presents and the best stories. My kids loved him. Amanda loved having him around. And me? I was just glad he seemed to be finally growing up a little. See, about a year before the shit hit the fan, Kyle had started coming around our house more. He said he wanted to help out, be a better brother, a better uncle. He'd fix things around the house. Leaky faucets, the garage door that always stuck, the fence gate that never quite closed right. He'd watch the kids when I had to work late doing SAT prep classes 3 nights a week. Amanda seemed happier, less stressed. I thought it was because she had help. I thought my brother was finally becoming the man I always hoped he'd be. I was working a lot back then. Teaching doesn't pay great, and we were trying to save for the kids' college funds. Those extra SAT prep sessions brought in another $800 a month. So I took them, even though it meant getting home at 8 or 9 p.m. on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. When I'd walk in, I'd often find Kyle and Amanda in the kitchen, laughing about something, and they'd go quiet when I entered. I'd find them watching a movie on the couch, Amanda's feet tucked under her, Kyle with a beer. Normal stuff. Brother-in-law stuff. Kyle had even fixed up this little corner of our garage, put in a workbench, a mini fridge, kept his tools there. He'd spend hours out there sometimes, working on projects. I appreciated it. I really did. I'm not particularly handy, and Kyle was good with his hands. It felt like we were finally becoming the brothers we were supposed to be. My parents loved it too. Sunday dinners at their place were this big production. Mom would make pot roast, or her famous lasagna, and the whole family would show up. My older sister Sarah and her husband, Kyle, Amanda, me, and the kids. We'd eat, we'd talk, we'd argue about politics or sports, and then we'd have pie and coffee while the kids played in the basement. It was tradition. It was stability. Family is everything. That's what my dad always said. Family is everything. There were small things I noticed, looking back. Small cracks in the facade that I explained away because I'm an idiot who wanted to believe the best in people. Amanda started buying nicer clothes, doing her hair more carefully, even on days she wasn't going anywhere. She'd have her phone face down on the counter, and she'd flip it over quickly when I walked into the room. Kyle started reading the same books Amanda was reading. She had this book club she went to every other Thursday, and suddenly Kyle was full of opinions about the novels she was discussing. Amanda laughed more when Kyle was around. Different laughs, the kind of laugh you give someone when they really get you. But I ignored it all, because that's what I do. I'm a peacekeeper. I'm the guy who smooths things over, who gives people the benefit of the doubt, who assumes the best intentions. My whole life, I've been the responsible one, the good son, the steady husband. I don't make waves, I don't cause drama, I trust people. And that trust, it nearly destroyed me. In July of 2021, Amanda and I had our second child, Jack. The birth was complicated. Emergency C-section, Amanda lost a lot of blood. The whole thing was terrifying. Afterward, when she was recovering, we talked about whether we wanted more kids. Amanda said she was done. Her body had been through enough. 2 kids were perfect. I agreed, so I did something I thought was responsible. I scheduled a vasectomy. I got it done in late July, went through the follow-up appointments, got the tests that confirmed 0 sperm count. I was officially sterile. The doctor said it was permanent, irreversible. I was fine with that. 2 kids, a stable job, a nice life. We were set. Here's the thing, though. I never explicitly told Amanda the vasectomy was permanent. She knew I was getting it done, but I didn't go into the details. She made some comment once about maybe when we're 40 we could reverse it if we change our minds. And I just sort of nodded and changed the subject. I felt a little guilty about it at the time, like I was keeping a secret. But I told myself it didn't matter because we both agreed 2 kids were enough. It was just semantics, right? Wrong. February 2023. I was working late one Tuesday night, grading papers in my classroom after an SAT prep session. It was almost 9 p.m., and the school was empty except for the janitor vacuuming down the hallway. My phone buzzed, Amanda texting me to see when I'd be home. I told her another hour. She sent back a heart emoji. When I got home that night around 10, the house was quiet. Kyle's truck wasn't in the driveway, which was unusual. He'd been over almost every Tuesday for the past month, helping with the kids' homework. Amanda was in bed already, which also wasn't like her. She usually waited up for me. I found her in the bathroom, sitting on the edge of the tub, crying, not sobbing, just silent tears running down her face. I asked her what was wrong. She looked up at me with this expression I couldn't read and said, "Happy tears, just hormones." I hugged her. She held onto me tighter than she had in months, and whispered, "I love our family, Rob. I love our life." I should have known something was wrong right then, but I didn't. I just kissed her forehead and told her I loved her too. The next morning, she made me blueberry pancakes, my favorite, the same breakfast she'd made the day she told me she was pregnant with Emma 7 years earlier. And that's when she said it. "Rob," she started, her voice shaking a little, "I have news." I looked up from my coffee. She was smiling, nervous, excited. She reached across the table and took my hand. "I'm pregnant." The world stopped. I felt my face freeze into what I hoped was a smile. I felt my mouth say, "Wow, that's amazing." I felt myself stand up and hug her, while Emma and Jack cheered and jumped around the kitchen, asking if they were getting a baby brother or sister. But inside, I was doing math. Vasectomy, July 2021. Post-op tests, September 2021. Sperm count, 0. Fertility, impossible. Amanda's last period. I remembered because she'd been crampy and irritable around Valentine's Day, was early February, which meant conception happened around February 14th. Valentine's Day. A day I'd been chaperoning the school Valentine's dance until 11 p.m., then came home to find Amanda already asleep. But Kyle had been there earlier that evening. I remembered because I'd asked him to come over and fix the kitchen sink that had been dripping for weeks. He'd texted me around 9. "All done, see you Sunday." I hugged Amanda tighter and felt absolutely nothing. No joy, no excitement. Just a creeping cold numbness spreading through my chest. "Are you okay?" she asked, pulling back to look at my face. "You look shocked." "I am," I said, forcing a laugh. "In a good way, just wow. I thought we were done." "I know," she said, eyes shining. "Me too, but I guess the universe had other plans. It's a miracle, really. A miracle." I excused myself to go to the bathroom, locked the door, and pulled up my medical records on my phone. There it was in black and white. Vasectomy successful. Follow-up sperm analysis. 0 motile sperm. Prognosis. Permanent sterility. This baby wasn't mine. It couldn't be. I stared at my reflection in the mirror. My hands were shaking. I wanted to scream. I wanted to walk back into that kitchen and demand answers. I wanted to flip the table and watch the blueberry pancakes hit the floor. But I didn't. Instead, I washed my face, took 3 deep breaths, and walked back out with the biggest smile I could manage. Because right then, in that moment, a plan was already forming in the back of my mind. A plan that required patience. A plan that required me to be smarter than I'd ever been in my life. If I confronted her now, she'd lie. She'd deny. She'd make me feel crazy. And whoever she'd been sleeping with, I didn't know who yet, but I'd find out. They'd both circle the wagons, and I'd look like the paranoid husband throwing accusations around with no proof. But if I waited, if I played along, if I gathered evidence while pretending to be the devoted father-to-be, then I could destroy them both. The next few days were a blur. Amanda called her parents, called her friends, posted on Facebook about our miracle baby. Everyone was so happy for us. My mom cried when we told her at Sunday dinner. My dad clapped me on the back and said, "Third time's the charm, son." My sister Sarah hugged Amanda and said she was so excited to have another niece or nephew. And Kyle gave me this long hug and said, "Congratulations, man. You're gonna be an amazing dad. Again." I looked at his face when he said it, looked for any sign of guilt, any crack in the facade. Nothing. He seemed genuinely happy for me. That's when I knew, whoever Amanda was sleeping with, they were good at lying. I started investigating that night. I'm not a naturally suspicious person, and I'm definitely not tech-savvy, but desperation makes you resourceful. I started paying attention to Amanda's phone habits. She kept it face down constantly now. She'd excuse herself to the bathroom to text. She'd shower with her phone on the counter, music playing, and I could hear the notification chimes over the water. I checked our joint bank account one night while she was asleep. There were cash withdrawals I didn't recognize. $200 here, $300 there, always labeled groceries or kids' stuff, but way more than we usually spent. Over the past 3 months, she'd pulled out $3,200 for groceries. In a town where you could feed a family of 4 for $150 a week. I wanted to know who she was texting, but her phone had a passcode I didn't know. So I did something I'm not proud of. I asked my friend Derek for help. Derek teaches computer science at the high school, and he's one of those guys who's been building computers since he was 12. I told him I was trying to recover some old family photos from Amanda's laptop that she'd accidentally deleted. He didn't ask questions. He just gave me a data recovery program and showed me how to use it. Amanda had an old laptop she'd stopped using when she got her newer one for Christmas. It was in the closet gathering dust. I pulled it out one Saturday while she was at her book club and the kids were at a birthday party. I ran Derek's program, and I found everything. Deleted text messages going back 7 months, hundreds of them. And they weren't with some stranger. They were with Kyle, my brother, my fucking brother. I sat there in my home office, staring at the screen, reading message after message after message. December 2022, a month after he'd started helping around the house. Kyle, missing you already? Tonight was perfect, Amanda. I know, I feel awful, but I can't stop thinking about you. Kyle, don't feel awful. What we have is real. January 2023. Amanda, Rob's working late again. Come over. Kyle, on my way. I'll park down the street. Amanda, good idea. God, I'm a terrible person. Kyle, you're not. He doesn't appreciate you like I do. February, right around Valentine's Day. Amanda, what if it's serious this time? Kyle, then we deal with it. Together. Amanda, how? He's your brother. Kyle, I know, but he'll never find out. He's too busy playing Mr. Perfect Teacher. And there it was. February 14th. Kyle, that was incredible. I love you. Amanda, I love you too. This is so wrong. Kyle, it doesn't feel wrong. I read every message, every deleted photo. Amanda in lingerie I'd never seen. Photos taken in our bedroom, in our bathroom, in Kyle's corner of the garage. I saw messages about them planning to tell me after the baby comes, about how they'd figure out custody, about how Kyle thought I wouldn't fight for it because I hate conflict. He was right about that last part. I do hate conflict, but this wasn't conflict. This was war. I copied everything to a flash drive. Then I copied it to another flash drive. Then I uploaded it all to a cloud storage account with a password only I knew. I wasn't going to let any of this disappear. Then I went to the garage, Kyle's corner, his workbench with the tools I'd thanked him for using to fix my house. I started searching. Under a shop rag, I found receipts, jewelry from the same store where I'd bought Amanda's wedding ring, dinner receipts from restaurants in the next town over, places far enough away that we wouldn't run into anyone we knew. A hotel receipt from February 13th, the night before Valentine's Day. I found a flask with lipstick on it, Amanda's shade, this dark red she'd started wearing in the fall. I found a note in her handwriting tucked into a toolbox. Same time Thursday, miss you already. Thursday, that was book club night, the night she'd been going to book club every other week for the past 6 months. I sat down on the cold concrete floor of my garage, surrounded by my brother's tools, and I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt this overwhelming clarity. Like everything that had been blurry for months suddenly snapped into focus. They'd been fucking in my house, in my bed, in my garage. While I was at work, teaching other people's kids about history, they were making their own. The baby was Kyle's. My wife was pregnant with my brother's child, and they thought I was too stupid, too trusting, too conflict avoidant to ever figure it out. I stood up, brushed off my pants, and went back inside. Amanda was making dinner, humming to herself, one hand resting on her barely showing belly. Emma and Jack were doing homework at the kitchen table. "Dinner's almost ready," Amanda said, smiling at me. "How was your day?" "Great," I said. "Hey, I've been thinking we should do one of those prenatal paternity tests. You know, just for fun. See if the baby has my genes for blue eyes or your genes for brown." She froze for just a second. Just a fraction of a second. Then she smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "That seems invasive, doesn't it? And expensive." "Insurance covers part of it," I lied. "And come on, the kids would love seeing the science. Emma's studying genetics in school." She hesitated. I could see her mind racing, trying to figure out how to say no without seeming suspicious. "Okay," she finally said, "if you really want to." "I do," I said. I kissed her cheek. It felt like kissing a stranger. That night, lying in bed next to her, I made my decision. I wasn't going to confront them. I wasn't going to ask for explanations or apologies. I was going to let them think they'd gotten away with it. I was going to play the loving husband, the excited father, the good brother. And I was going to gather every single piece of evidence I could find. Because I didn't just want a divorce. I wanted them to feel what I felt. I wanted them humiliated, exposed, destroyed in front of everyone who mattered. I wanted our parents to see what their golden boy had done. I wanted Amanda's book club friends to know what she really did on Thursday nights. I wanted the whole goddamn town to know, and I knew exactly when I was going to do it. My family is big on traditions. Every holiday, every birthday, every milestone, we celebrate together. And the biggest tradition of all is Thanksgiving at my parents' house. Both sides of the family come. The Mitchells and the Harpers, Amanda's family. Usually about 35 to 40 people crammed into my parents' dining room and living room, eating turkey and stuffing and pie, watching football, the kids running around like maniacs. And every year my dad asks me to carve the turkey. It's this whole symbolic thing. The oldest son, the responsible one, the man of the family. Everyone gathers around to watch. It's a moment. That's when I do it. Thanksgiving. November 23rd, 2023. In front of everyone. I had 8 months to prepare. The prenatal paternity test came back in mid-April. I'd arranged for the results to be sent to my school address, not our home. I opened the envelope alone in my classroom after the last bell rang and the hallways had emptied out. Probability of paternity? 0.00%. Conclusion: Robert Mitchell is excluded as the biological father. There was a second page I'd paid extra for, a comparison test with Kyle's DNA that I'd collected from a beer bottle he'd left in our fridge. Suggested relationship to alternate sample, Kyle M. Biological father, probability, 99.73%. I stared at those numbers for 45 minutes. Then I threw up in the trash can next to my desk, but I didn't cry. Not yet. Crying was for later. Right now, I had work to do. I bought 3 voice-activated recorders online. Small ones, the kind you can hide anywhere. I put one in Amanda's car, tucked into the side pocket of the driver's door. I put one in the garage, behind Kyle's toolbox. I put one in our bedroom, inside a decorative box on the dresser that Amanda never opened. Over the next few months, those recorders captured everything. April 27th, Amanda's car. Amanda. He wants to do a prenatal paternity test. Kyle. Shit. Did you do it? Amanda. I had to. He would have been suspicious if I said no. Kyle. What if... Amanda. He's not going to find out. The test just tells you basic genetics. It doesn't compare to him. She was wrong about that. But I let her believe it. May 15th, the garage. Kyle. After Thanksgiving, we tell him, together, rip the Band-Aid off. Amanda. What if he fights for custody of Emma and Jack? Kyle. He won't. He hates conflict. He'll be hurt, but he'll be rational about it. He always is. Amanda. God, I feel like such a horrible person. Kyle. You're not. You just fell in love with the wrong brother first. June 3rd, our bedroom. Amanda. Do you think about the future? Like us raising this baby together? Kyle. Every day. Maybe we could move. Michigan. Start fresh. Amanda. What about Emma and Jack? Kyle. He'll understand eventually. He always does. We'll figure out custody. Co-parenting. I listened to every recording. I cataloged every conversation. I burned it all to CDs, backed it up in 3 different places. I was building a case, and it was airtight. The hardest part wasn't gathering evidence. It was pretending. Every ultrasound appointment, I was there, holding Amanda's hand, watching the screen show me a baby that wasn't mine. Every time someone asked if I was excited, I smiled and said, absolutely. Every Sunday dinner, I sat across from Kyle and made small talk about the weather, about the Bengals' chances this season, about nothing that mattered. And every night, I lay next to Amanda, feeling the baby, Kyle's baby, kick against her belly, and I felt nothing. Not anger anymore, not even hurt. Just this cold, calm certainty that I was doing the right thing. In July, I quietly consulted with a divorce lawyer in Columbus, a guy named Jerry who'd been my roommate in college. I drove out there on a Saturday, told Amanda I was going to a teacher's conference. Jerry listened to my story, looked at my evidence, and whistled low. Ohio's a no-fault divorce state, he said, but adultery absolutely affects asset division. And with this much proof, you'll get a favorable settlement. Custody, too, especially if she doesn't contest. What about public exposure? I asked. He raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? I mean, can I present this evidence publicly at a family gathering? Jerry leaned back in his chair. Legally, sure, it's your evidence. But Rob, are you sure you want to do it that way? It's going to be brutal for everyone. I'm sure, I said. He shook his head. Okay, just be prepared for the fallout. This kind of thing doesn't just affect them, it affects everyone. I know, I said. That's the point. I went home that night and played with Emma and Jack in the backyard. We threw a baseball around, and Jack kept missing easy catches and giggling. Emma asked me if I was excited about the baby. Sure, sweetheart, I said. Will you still have time for us when the baby comes? She asked, and my heart broke a little. Always, I told her. You and Jack are my whole world. That will never change. She hugged me, and I held her tight, and I thought about how this was all going to blow up their lives too. They were going to lose the uncle they loved. They were going to see their family implode. They were going to be confused and hurt and scared, but they were also going to learn the truth. And they were going to learn that actions have consequences, that betrayal gets punished, that their father wasn't a pushover. August, Amanda's baby shower. Her friends threw it at our house, 20 women drinking mimosas and playing baby shower games. I stayed for the first hour, then excused myself to run errands. Kyle showed up halfway through. I came back just in time to see him giving this speech about how excited he was to be an uncle, how he was going to spoil this baby rotten, how family is everything. Everyone laughed and clapped. Amanda beamed at him. I recorded the whole thing on my phone. For memories, I told Amanda later, showing her the video. You're so sweet, she said, kissing me. I felt nothing. September. Amanda was 7 months along, showing prominently. We went to her parents' house for her dad's birthday. The Harpers were good people, salt of the earth types, been married 40 years, the kind of folks who still said grace before every meal. Mr. Harper pulled me aside after dinner. "Robert," he said, "I just want you to know how proud I am to have you as a son-in-law. You're a good man. You take care of my daughter." I shook his hand. "I try, sir." "You're going to be a great dad to 3 kids," he said. I thought about what I was about to do to his daughter in front of him. I thought about how he was going to find out she'd been lying to everyone. I thought about how this was going to devastate him. And then I thought about how none of this was my fault. "Thank you, sir," I said. October. The plan solidified. My mother called to confirm Thanksgiving plans. We'd be hosting it at their house, like always. Both families invited. She asked if I'd carve the turkey again this year. "Of course, Mom," I said. "Wouldn't miss it." "You've been so quiet lately," she said. "Is everything okay?" "Everything's perfect," I lied. "Just busy with work." She asked me to come early on Thanksgiving to help set up. I said I would, because I needed time to set up the projector. See, I wasn't just going to tell them. I was going to show them. I'd put together a presentation, slideshow style, with all the evidence. Photos, text messages, bank statements, audio clips, and the DNA test results. I was going to project it on the wall for everyone to see. I told Amanda I was planning a surprise for Thanksgiving. She thought I was going to announce the pregnancy to everyone at dinner or give her some kind of gift. She kept asking me what it was. "You'll see," I said, smiling. November 15th. The DNA test results had been sitting in my desk drawer for 7 months. I took them out, read them one more time, and added them to my folder. I started seeing a therapist in October, Dr. Lisa Chen, in a town 20 miles away where nobody knew me. I paid cash so it wouldn't show up on our insurance. I told her everything. She listened without judgment. "What do you want from this?" she asked. "I want them to feel what I felt," I said. "Which is what? Betrayal, humiliation, the sudden realization that your entire life is a lie." She was quiet for a moment. "And after? After you expose them?" I didn't have an answer. "Have you thought about the collateral damage?" she pressed. "Your kids, your parents, Amanda's parents, your sister. They deserve to know the truth," I said. "Maybe," she said. "But are you prepared for the possibility that this backfires? That people blame you for handling it this way?" I laughed bitterly. "Blame me? For what? For not quietly accepting that my wife fucked my brother and passed his kid off as mine?" "No," she said gently. "For choosing public humiliation over private resolution. Some people are going to think you went too far." "I don't care," I said. But sitting in my car after that session, I wondered if that was true. Did I care? Would I regret this? I thought about Amanda's face when I revealed everything. I thought about Kyle's. I thought about my mother's horror, my father's shame, the kids asking questions nobody wanted to answer. And then I thought about February 14th, Valentine's Day, when I was chaperoning a school dance while my brother was in my bed with my wife. I thought about Kyle's hand on Amanda's belly at Sunday dinners, about him calling me too conflict avoidant to ever find out. I started the car and drove home. No regrets. Thanksgiving morning, November 23rd, 2023. I woke up at 5 a.m., even though we weren't due at my parents' house until noon. Amanda was still asleep next to me, one hand resting on her swollen belly. I got up, showered, got dressed. I packed my evidence folder, my laptop, the projector I'd borrowed from school. I put everything in my car. Amanda found me in the kitchen, drinking coffee. "You're up early," she said, yawning. "Nervous about carving the turkey?" "Something like that," I said. "You've been so quiet this week," she said, wrapping her arms around me from behind. "Are you okay?" "I'm perfect," I said. "Today's going to be memorable." She laughed. "You're so dramatic sometimes." She had no idea. We arrived at my parents' house at 11:30. I'd asked if I could come early to help set up, so Amanda stayed home with the kids and said they'd come at noon. My dad met me at the door. "Son," he said, "you look tired. Everything all right?" "Everything's great, Dad," I said. "Just wanted to get the slideshow set up. You know, family photos, memories. Thought it'd be nice before dinner." He smiled. "That's a great idea. Your mother will love that." I set up in the dining room, laptop on the sideboard, projector aimed at the white wall opposite the head of the table where I'd be carving the turkey. I tested it. Everything worked perfectly. My mother came in and hugged me. "Oh, Robert, a slideshow. What a sweet surprise." "I'm full of surprises today, Mom," I said. By 12:30, everyone had arrived. 37 people, just like I'd calculated. The Mitchells, my parents, my sister Sarah, and her husband Derek, Kyle. The Harpers, Amanda's parents, her brother Mark, and his wife Lisa. Plus assorted cousins, second cousins, Emma and Jack running around with their cousins in the basement. Amanda looked radiant in a maternity dress, 8 months pregnant, glowing. People kept hugging her, touching her belly, asking how she was feeling. Kyle was right there, smiling, playing the doting uncle. I watched them, studied them, memorized this moment, the last moment before everything changed. At 3 p.m., everyone gathered in the dining room. The turkey sat at the center of the table, golden and perfect. My father asked me to say the blessing, like always. I stood at the head of the table, carving knife in my hand, and looked around at all the faces I'd known my whole life. "Dear God," I said, "thank you for this meal, thank you for bringing family together, and thank you for the truth, because the truth, no matter how painful it is, will set us free. Amen." There was a confused pause. My mother looked at me oddly. "That was different," my dad said, trying to lighten the mood. "Before we eat," I said, "I have that slideshow I mentioned, Family Memories. I think you'll all want to see this." I dimmed the lights and turned on the projector. The first slide was a photo of Amanda and me on our wedding day, 8 years ago. We looked so young, so happy. 8 years ago, I said, I married my best friend. Next slide, Emma as a newborn. 7 years ago, we had Emma. Next slide, Jack. 5 years ago, we had Jack, and we both agreed 2 kids were perfect. Amanda was smiling, probably thinking this was going to be some sweet announcement about the new baby. Next slide, my vasectomy medical record. The room went silent. "So 2 years ago," I said, my voice steady, "I had a vasectomy. Amanda thought it was reversible. It wasn't. According to this document, I have 0 sperm count. I am, biologically, completely sterile." My mother gasped. Someone dropped a fork. Amanda stood up. "Rob, what are you doing?" "Sit down, Amanda," I said calmly. Next slide, the ultrasound photo from her 20-week appointment. "So, when Amanda told me in March that she was pregnant," I continued, "I was confused, because according to medical science, that should be impossible." Kyle had gone pale. He was gripping the edge of the table. Next slide, the DNA paternity test results, zoomed in on the relevant section. Probability of paternity, 0.0%. Robert Mitchell is excluded as the biological father. Gasps around the table. Amanda's mother put her hand over her mouth. "Because according to this prenatal paternity test," I said, "I am not the father of Amanda's baby." The room exploded in murmurs. People looking at each other, at Amanda, at me. "There must be a mistake," my father said. "Rob, there's no mistake, Dad," I said. Next slide, the second DNA test. Suggested biological father, Kyle M. Probability, 99.73%. The silence was so complete, I could hear my own heartbeat. "Kyle is the father," I said. "My brother, my wife has been sleeping with my brother." My mother made a sound like she'd been punched. Sarah's husband Derek whispered, "Holy shit." "That's not—" Kyle started to stand. "Sit the fuck down," I said, and something in my voice made him obey. I picked up the voice recorder remote. In case anyone thinks I'm making this up, here's a recording from July 28th, Kyle and Amanda talking in our garage. I pressed play. Kyle's voice filled the room. "After Thanksgiving, we tell him together. Rip the Band-Aid off." Amanda's voice. "What if he fights for custody? Of Emma and Jack?" Kyle. "He won't. He hates conflict. He'll be hurt, but he'll be rational about it. He always is." Amanda had started crying. My mother looked like she was going to be sick. "Rob," my father said, standing. "Son, maybe we should—" "I'm not done," I said. Next slide. Bank statements with highlighted Venmo transfers. "Over the past 8 months," I said, "Amanda has given Kyle $4,700 from our joint bank account. Money I earned teaching, money we were supposed to be saving for Emma and Jack's college funds. She gave it to him, to fund their affair." Amanda's father stood up and walked out of the room. Next slide. Photos. The ones I'd recovered from Amanda's deleted files. Not the explicit ones, I had some mercy, but photos of them together. Kyle's hand in Amanda's hair. Amanda in lingerie I'd never seen. A photo taken in our bedroom. These were taken in our house, I said. In our bedroom, our garage. While I was at work, teaching other people's children about the importance of honesty and integrity. Rob, please, Amanda sobbed. Please, we can talk about this. We are talking, I said. Right here, right now, in front of everyone. Just like you planned to do after Thanksgiving. I just moved up your timeline. Kyle finally spoke, his voice shaking. Rob, it wasn't supposed to happen like this. Like what? I turned to him. You weren't supposed to get caught? You weren't supposed to get her pregnant? Which part wasn't supposed to happen, Kyle? My father turned to Kyle. Tell me this isn't true. Kyle's face crumpled. Dad, you didn't mean for 7 months of fucking your brother's wife to result in a pregnancy? I laughed, and it sounded hollow even to me. You didn't mean for all those text messages I recovered where you called me Mr. Perfect Teacher and said I was too stupid to figure it out. Sarah stood up. Kyle, you did this? In his house? With his wife? Amanda was sobbing now, both hands on her belly. My mother had her face in her hands. Emma appeared in the doorway from the basement, drawn by the raised voices. Daddy? I felt my heart crack. I knelt down. Sweetheart, go back downstairs with Jack, okay? The grown-ups are talking. Are you mad? She asked, tears in her eyes. I'm sad, I said, pulling her close. But not at you. Never at you. Go play. I'll come get you soon. Sarah took Emma back downstairs. I stood back up and faced the room. I've been the good son for 38 years, I said, my voice breaking for the first time. The good husband, the good brother. I let Kyle live in my house, fix my cars, play with my kids. I worked extra jobs to save money for our family. I ignored every red flag because I wanted to believe the best in people. Because I trusted you, Amanda. I trusted you, Kyle. I trusted that when Dad said family is everything, he meant we protected each other, not that we destroyed each other. I looked at my parents. You always loved him more anyway. He was the fun one, the charming one. I was just the responsible one, the boring one, the one who'd always be there to clean up his messes. Well, not anymore. I put the folder of evidence on the table. Here's everything. Text messages, photos, bank statements, DNA tests. Give it to your lawyers. Fight me if you want. But you'll lose because I have 8 months of documentation. I looked at Amanda one last time. She was a mess, mascara running, hands shaking. I hope it was worth it, I said quietly. Because you just lost everything. I looked at Kyle. You said I hate conflict. You were right. But I don't hate truth. And the truth is, you're not my brother anymore. Don't contact me. Don't come to my house. If you try, I'll get a restraining order. I turned to leave. Robert, wait, my mother cried. We need to talk about this as a family. There is no family, I said. Not anymore. Kyle followed me to the door. Rob, please, I'm sorry. I turned on him. You're sorry? You fucked my wife for 7 months. You put a baby in her. You planned to tell me after Thanksgiving, like that would somehow make it better. You took my money. You used my home. You made a fool of me, and you're sorry? I never meant to hurt you, he said weakly. You just meant to fuck her, I said. The hurt was just collateral damage. Well, congratulations, Kyle. You got her, and you get to live with what you did for the rest of your life. Every time you look at that kid, you'll remember that you got him by destroying your own brother. I walked out into the cold November air. Behind me, I could hear shouting, crying, chaos. I got in my car and drove. I drove for 3 hours without any destination, just drove until I ran out of gas on some highway exit near Cleveland. I pulled into a gas station, filled up the tank, and sat in the parking lot while the sun set. And then, for the first time in 8 months, I cried. I cried until I couldn't breathe, until my chest hurt, until I had nothing left. Because revenge didn't feel like I thought it would. It didn't feel satisfying or victorious. It felt empty, hollow. Like I'd burned down my whole life and was standing in the ashes wondering what the hell I'd just done. My phone had been buzzing nonstop. I finally turned it on. 89 missed calls, 212 text messages. Amanda, 15 texts begging me to come home, to talk, to let her explain. Kyle, 8 texts. I'm sorry. Please talk to me. I never wanted to hurt you. My parents 22 voicemails. My dad angry. How could you humiliate your family like this? My mom crying. Robert, please, we need to talk. Sarah, 5 texts. I'm so sorry. I had no idea. What they did is unforgivable. Where are you? I responded only to Sarah. I'm okay. Don't tell anyone where I am. Then I turned my phone off again and checked into a motel. Over the next week, the fallout was spectacular. Maplewood, Ohio, has a population of about 15,000 people. Everyone knows everyone, and gossip in a small town, it spreads faster than wildfire. Someone from Thanksgiving, I never found out who, posted something vague on Facebook. Some Thanksgivings you'll never forget. Within hours, the comments were full of people asking what happened. By Monday, half the town knew. Kyle's boss at the mill called him. Hey man, customers are asking if you're the guy who got his brother's wife pregnant. Maybe take some time off. Kyle lost his bartending shifts, lost $1,200 a week in tips and hourly pay. Amanda's book club group chat lit up with messages. Her best friend Jenna blocked her. The Maplewood Moms Facebook group, Amanda had been a moderator, quietly removed her. My school principal called me Monday morning. Rob, I heard about take the week, take 2 weeks. We'll cover your classes. Just take care of yourself. The other teachers rallied around me. Small town loyalty to the good guy. People started leaving casseroles on my doorstep. My parents tried to force a family meeting. Kyle showed up. Amanda didn't. She was staying with her parents, 8 months pregnant and falling apart. My mother cried. Kyle, how could you? Kyle, defensive. It wasn't planned. We fell in love. My father, furious. Love? You betrayed your brother, in his own house. Sarah refused to speak to Kyle. Told him if she ever saw him again, she'd spit in his face. My parents' marriage started showing cracks. My dad wanted to disown Kyle. My mom wanted to help him through this. They stopped speaking to each other. Kyle had to move out of their basement. He found some shitty studio apartment he could barely afford. Amanda's family turned on her too. Her father wouldn't speak to her. Her mother told her, "How could you do this to Robert? He was perfect to you." December 8th, 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, Amanda had a panic attack. She was hospitalized overnight. Pregnancy complications from stress. The doctor warned her she needed to reduce stress or risk premature labor. She tried to see Emma and Jack. My sister Sarah had taken them in temporarily while I found my footing. Sarah refused to let Amanda see them. Robert says not until the divorce is settled. Amanda broke down on her parents' front porch. The neighbors saw. Kyle tried to visit her. Her father physically blocked the door. You've done enough. By mid-December, Kyle had lost most of his friends. His bowling league guys stopped calling. His poker night crew ghosted him. He ran into a childhood friend at the grocery store. Dude, what you did, that's unforgivable. I know, Kyle said. I fucked up. Yeah, you did. The friend walked away. December 20th, Amanda went into labor. Early, 37 weeks. She was alone, except for her mother. Mrs. Harper called me. Robert, she's in labor. She's asking for you. I felt nothing. That's not my child. Tell Kyle. Robert, please. Whatever she did, she's alone and terrified. I hung up. Kyle rushed to the hospital. Amanda refused to see him. She delivered alone, a boy, 6 pounds, 4 ounces, healthy. The nurse asked, Name for the birth certificate? Amanda crying. I don't know. That night, she had a severe postpartum panic attack. They sedated her. When I heard about it, Sarah told me, I felt a pang of something. Guilt, pity. I pushed it down. I spent December in that motel room, hiding from everyone. Derek finally tracked me down. You can't hide forever, he said. Watch me. Amanda had the baby. It's a boy. I felt that pang again. Not my problem. Rob, I get it. But Emma and Jack, they miss you. They don't understand. That broke through. I know, I can't face them yet. They need their dad, Derek said gently. And you need them. December 23rd. I drove past my old house. Amanda's parents had brought Emma and Jack back there. I could see Christmas lights, the kids playing in the yard. I almost stopped, almost got out of the car and ran to them. Instead, I drove away. That night, Christmas Eve, lying in that motel bed listening to families laughing in nearby rooms, I realized something. Revenge doesn't fill the hole. It just makes it bigger. I'd wanted them to feel what I felt. Mission accomplished. But I felt worse, not better. I destroyed my wife, my brother, my parents' marriage, my kids' stability, my family's reputation. And for what? To prove a point? To get even? To show them I wasn't weak? Sitting there in the dark, I wondered if Dr. Chen had been right. Had I gone too far? But then I thought about Kyle's hand on Amanda's belly at Sunday dinners, about the text messages where they laughed about how I'd never find out, about 8 months of lies while I smiled and played the fool. No, they deserved what they got, didn't they? I didn't sleep that night. The divorce proceedings started in January. My lawyer Jerry filed the paperwork. Ohio is a no-fault state, but adultery affects asset division. Amanda didn't fight. She was drowning in postpartum depression, living with her parents, barely functional. I got the house, full custody of Emma and Jack. Amanda didn't contest. She was too overwhelmed. She kept her car, no alimony. Kyle was on the birth certificate for the baby. Amanda named him Liam. Liam Harper. She used her maiden name, refused to give him Kyle's last name. The divorce was finalized in March of 2024, 4 months after Thanksgiving. I should have felt relief, victory. Instead, I felt empty. I moved back into the house with Emma and Jack in March. Had the hardest conversation of my life with Emma, who was 7 and old enough to understand some of it. "Why doesn't Mommy live here?" she asked. "Because sometimes grown-ups can't live together anymore, but Mom still loves you." "Is it because of the baby?" "It's complicated, sweetheart. But you and Jack are the most important people to me. That will never change." She hugged me, and I held her and cried. Jack was 5. He adapted easier, didn't ask as many questions. But he had nightmares. I'd wake up to find him in my bed, clutching his stuffed elephant. I established a routine: breakfast together, school, dinner as a family, bedtime stories. I became the parent I should have been all along, present, attentive, there. I arranged supervised visitation for Amanda every other weekend. The first visit I watched from my car as she held Emma and Jack and sobbed. I felt pity, not love, not even anger anymore, just pity. I kept seeing Dr. Chen through spring and summer. We worked through everything: the betrayal, the anger, my role in the dysfunction. "You ignored problems for years," she said one session. "The vasectomy secret, your conflict avoidance, your enabling of Kyle." "So this is my fault?" I snapped. "No. But healing means understanding your part. You can't just be the victim." That hit hard. Over the months, I started to see it. I'd enabled Kyle's irresponsibility for decades. I'd kept secrets from Amanda. I'd avoided conflict instead of setting boundaries. In June, I had a breakthrough. I spent so long being the good one that I never set boundaries, I told Dr. Chen. I let everyone walk all over me, and then I wondered why they did. "What boundaries will you set now?" "I'm done being everyone's savior," I said. She smiled. "That's growth." I never spoke to Kyle or my parents again. Kyle sent one letter in July 2024, addressed to the school. "Rob, I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know I hate myself every day for what I did. You deserve better. I'm moving to Michigan, starting over. I won't contact you again." K. I read it, felt nothing, threw it away. My parents tried to reach out. Voicemails from my mom. "Robert, we love you. Please call us." My dad, "Son, we're sorry. We failed you, but you're still our son." I never responded. Sarah told me later that they were sending Kyle money in Michigan, supporting him while he got back on his feet. Of course they were. That's what they always did. I was done. By fall of 2024, I'd started to rebuild. I joined a single-parent support group, met Rebecca, 36, divorced teacher from the next town, 2 kids of her own. We bonded over coffee, over shared trauma, over the exhaustion of single parenting. Our first date, though we didn't call it that, was at a pumpkin patch in October. Emma, Jack, and Rebecca's 2 kids running around laughing. Rebecca and I walking behind them, talking about everything and nothing. "You seem lighter," she said. "I'm trying," I said. "That's all any of us can do." I told Dr. Chen about Rebecca. I didn't think I'd ever trust anyone again, I admitted. But maybe I can. Trust takes time, Dr. Chen said, and that's okay. It's November 2025 now, 2 years since that Thanksgiving. I'm at Rebecca's parents' house for Thanksgiving. Her family is warm, welcoming, nothing like mine. There are 20 people here, Rebecca's siblings, their kids, her parents. They've embraced Emma and Jack like their own grandkids. Rebecca's dad asks me to carve the turkey. I hesitate, remembering 2 years ago, remembering the last time I held a carving knife in front of a crowd. But Rebecca squeezes my hand. You okay? Yeah, I say. I'm okay. I carve the turkey. It's peaceful, normal. Nobody's hiding secrets. Nobody's lying. Emma leans over and whispers, Dad, are you happy? I look around, at Rebecca's family laughing, at Jack playing with Rebecca's son, at this new life I've built from the ruins. Yeah, kiddo, I say. I really am. Where are they now? Amanda lives in Columbus, about 45 minutes away. She moved there to escape the small town shame. She works part-time as a nurse. She has Liam, who's 2 now. She raises him alone. Kyle sends child support, court-ordered. But he and Amanda aren't together. They tried for a few months after the baby was born. It didn't work. Turns out guilt and betrayal aren't great foundations for a relationship. Amanda sees Emma and Jack every other weekend. Our relationship is polite, distant. The kids are adjusting. It's not perfect, but it's functional. Kyle moved to Grand Rapids, Michigan in late 2024, works a warehouse job, lives alone. Sarah told me he's in AA trying to get sober. I don't know if it's true. I don't care. He has no relationship with Liam. That's Amanda's choice, and I don't blame her. My parents are still together, but their marriage is strained. They still send Kyle money. They haven't seen Emma or Jack in 2 years. I won't allow it. They chose him. They made their choice. My mom sent a Christmas card last year. I didn't open it. And me, I'm dating Rebecca. 8 months now. We're taking it slow. She's patient, understanding. She knows my baggage. She has her own. I have full custody of Emma and Jack. They're thriving. Emma's doing well in school. Jack just lost his first tooth. I still teach at Maplewood High. I sold the old house, too many memories, and bought a new one closer to the school. I see Dr. Chen once a month for maintenance. I've learned to set boundaries, to say no, to protect my peace. Tonight, before rejoining Rebecca's family for dessert, I'm alone in her guest room. I pull out my phone and look at an old photo. Me, Amanda, baby Emma, Kyle in the background at some barbecue years ago. We look happy. I used to think family was everything. That blood meant loyalty, that the people who shared your DNA would protect you. I was wrong. I delete the photo. Family is who shows up, who protects you, who doesn't betray you in your own home. I rejoin the party. Rebecca smiles at me, takes my hand, I squeeze back. My brother used to say, family is everything, and I believed him, but now I know family is only everything if they treat you like you matter. Otherwise, they're just people who happen to share your blood, and I'm done bleeding for people who don't care about the wound. I'm done being the good one, the peacekeeper, the guy who swallows his pain to keep everyone else comfortable. Now I'm just Robert, dad to Emma and Jack, partner to Rebecca, teacher, friend, survivor, and for the first time in 2 years, I'm learning what it means to be happy again. Not the fake happiness I performed for 8 months while gathering evidence. Not the hollow victory of revenge, but real, quiet, hard-won peace. Emma tugs on my sleeve. Dad, come on. Aunt Rebecca's mom made pumpkin pie. Coming, sweetheart, I say. I look back one more time at the deleted photo space on my phone. At the family I used to have. Then I close the phone and walk toward the family I'm building now. Because that's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't just destroy what was. It forces you to build something new, something better, something where trust is earned, not assumed, where loyalty is real, not performed. Kyle and Amanda took my old life. Fine. I built a better one. And every day I wake up with Emma and Jack. Every Sunday I spend with Rebecca and her kids. Every night I go to bed without lies and secrets eating me alive. That's the real revenge. Not the Thanksgiving explosion. Not the public humiliation. The real revenge is being happy without them.